Hey everybody, Drilling in the Name of here, and today I'm back behind my bar and I have Lloyd here with me, so you know what that means. It's time to make another Abyss Bar beer themed cocktail. We're actually killing two birds with one rock and stone because today's beers are Burning Love and Flintlocke's Delight. And although you may think it's a bit cheap to cram two beers into one video, one blows you up and the other lights you on fire, and for the purposes of this cocktail, that's pretty much the same thing. What follows is my most dangerous Abyss Bar cocktail yet. Well, maybe second most dangerous. Kinda depends on your definition of danger. Anyway, I'm calling it the Burning Delight. Now you might say that sounds like a euphemism for a venereal disease, but I'd argue no more so than burning love. Moving on. Let's talk about what type of drink we're going to be making. When I look at the effects that these beers have, the first thing I think of is over the top. And what's more over the top than Tiki? Tiki culture is an American phenomenon whose history is long, complicated, and even a little controversial. Without getting into all that, Tiki often conjures images of things like tropical beaches, Hawaiian shirts, and tiki torches. Not that kind, the fun kind. But what most people think of when it comes to Tiki is the Tiki cocktail. Tiki cocktails are the definition of excess, often featuring multiple overproof rums, served in decorative mugs, and adorned with as many garnishes as a Sobelman's Bloody Mary. So we are going to be making a... Huh? What's wrong? Yeah, I know the graphics are blocking you, but that's just kind of how this is framed. This is normally my dead space. Well, when the graphics aren't there, they can see you just fine, which is most of the time. Lloyd. Come on, man. Alright, Lloyd's a little upset, so I guess you're stuck with me. Anyway, we're going to be making our Burning Delight into a Tiki cocktail, so let's talk about what we're going to need. First off, and this probably goes without saying, we're going to need some rum. Now, rum comes in all shapes and sizes, from white to gold to spiced to agricole to aged and beyond. But we have a couple sweet ingredients in today's cocktail which calls for an overproof rum. This is a rum that's bottled at over 50% alcohol, and my overproof of choice couldn't be more on the nose for today's cocktail. It's called Tiki Lover's Dark Rum, and it's made by the Bitter Truth Distillery in Germany. While it's not really an amazing rum I would sip on by itself, it is 57% alcohol, should run you less than $25, and goes really well with the rest of our ingredients. Speaking of which, what are the rest of our ingredients? Now, Flintlocke's Delight gives no description of flavor other than gunpowder. Fun fact though, the term overproof was coined by the British Royal Navy. They used to test the alcohol content of the rum they were buying by mixing it with a little bit of gunpowder and applying a flame. If the gunpowder ignited, it was proof of alcohol, and if it didn't, it was underproof. Side note, all this talk of rum and fire is a little thing we call foreshadowing. Anyway, the only description of Burning Love's flavor is that it has a powerful taste and utter disregard for the Scoville scale. That's actually really helpful because now we know that we need to add some spice. Tiki drinks often incorporate baking spices like clove, nutmeg, star anise, or in our case, cinnamon. And what better way to incorporate the flavor of cinnamon than Fireball Cinnamon Whiskey? That's a joke. No, it turns out the best way to incorporate the flavor of cinnamon is f***ing cinnamon. To really up the spice level, our cinnamon is going to come in the form of a habanero cinnamon demerara syrup. I've mentioned demerara in the past, and I know you've seen every single one of these videos, but if you need a refresher, demerara is just minimally processed raw sugar. The most widely available brand is Sugar in the Raw, which is technically turbinado sugar, but tastes pretty much the same. And making the syrup is really simple. Add 1 cup of raw sugar and 1 cup of water to a small saucepan over medium heat. Add a couple broken cinnamon sticks and half a habanero pepper. Make sure to stir frequently, and once you see the boils start to clear, remove from heat and set aside to cool. Now if you really want to bring the heat, make sure to press down on the habanero with your whisk. Once it's cooled off, use a reusable coffee filter to remove the bits. Next, we need a truly classic Tiki ingredient, which goes by the name of Orgeat. Despite being originally made with and named after barley, Orgeat as we know it now is a syrup made with almonds, often with the addition of orange blossom water. And it's really one of those bartender cheat codes because it tastes so good and it really transforms anything that you put it in. It's also one of the main ingredients of the Mai Tai, which is arguably the most famous Tiki cocktail. There are plenty of Orgeat brands you can buy, and for my Burning Delight, I'll be using BG Reynolds. I like this one because it not only tastes great, but it's also a little less viscous than other commercial options. Now at this point, if you're saying, Mr. in the name of, how dare you? I'm allergic to almonds. Well, that sucks. But not all hope is lost because you can make Orgeat out of pretty much anything. I'll put a link in the description to a pretty straightforward recipe that you can un-almondify by subbing oat milk for almond milk and using artificial almond extract. Trash Tiki also has a great recipe where they use avocado pits, and I'll link to that as well. however you choose to Orgeat, let's move on to our final ingredient, lime juice. Now I don't mean to keep beating a dead grunt, but buy a damn lime and squeeze the damn juice. Now that we have all our ingredients, let's build our burning delight. First, we're going to start with 2 ounces of our overproof rum, then 3/4 of an ounce of our cinnamon habanero syrup, 3/4 of an ounce of Orgeat, and 1 ounce of fresh lime juice. Quick side note, if you choose not to imbibe, we actually have a pretty nice non-alcoholic substitute. Ish Spirits is a company in Copenhagen, Denmark, who specialize in non-alcoholic alternatives to wine and spirits, and their Caribbean Spiced is honestly one of the best and most convincing I've ever had. NA spirits are still really new, and a lot of them are rough, so it's nice having a quality substitute for the real thing. So for a non-alcoholic burning delight, simply substitute 2 ounces of Ish Caribbean Spiced in place of the overproof rum. In the meantime, we'll shake with ice. And strain over fresh ice into your most fanciest mug. And now the burning portion of our burning delight. It's always safety first at my Abyss Bar, but for you folks watching, do not try this at home. Ta-da! Hopefully you enjoyed that demonstration, because I'm very sweaty now. Now obviously I shouldn't show you how to do most of those, but one of those is actually a pretty common bar garnish. It turns out that the oils in orange peel are about 97% limonene, which is a flammable terpene. Normally when I cut a citrus peel, I press really lightly so you don't get the bitter pith on the other side, but in this case I want a really thick peel. After heating the peel with a lighter, I can squeeze the oils through the flame over my drink, and those oils ignite in a pretty satisfying way. Besides just looking cool, it also gives a really powerful orange aroma to your drink when you go to take a sip. Alright, time to garnish this up. First I'm going to add a little sprig of mint, throw a little monkey on there, maybe a little mermaid, cocktail umbrella, and finish it off with a little pair of googly grunt eyes to complete our burning delight. Finally, I'm using a glass bamboo straw from Surfside Sips. This is a cool little company in Humboldt County, California who specialize in hand-blown glass cocktail straws. They're fully customizable and come in tons of different sizes, shapes, and colors, and for the quality of what you're getting, they're also really affordable. I know this probably sounds like an ad read, but they're actually not a sponsor. I just think they're really cool. I'll put a link to their website in the description if you want to check it out, but in the meantime, let's put them to use. Delightful. It's a really nice winter warmer for these colder months because you get the heat of the rum and the heat of the habanero, which is balanced really nicely by the orgeat and lime juice. If you end up making a burning delight for yourself, please let me know in the comments what you think. Speaking of which, I always get a comment or two on these videos asking me to review the drinks after I've tried them, so just to clarify, these are all my own creations, so every Abyss Bar cocktail comes with the Ditno seal of approval. Well, I certainly hope you enjoyed this edition of my Abyss Bar series more than Lloyd did. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you feel so inclined. Please drink responsibly, and as always, rock and stone, brothers and sisters.